Master Football verdict, I would approve it. Not enthusiastically, I just, sure, okay? Literally, sure, whatever. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master Football, back at it again. Happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things college football, pro football, Madden, anything related to American football, hit the red subscribe button. You'll not be disappointed. Hit the like button too. Quest for 1,000. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Do all that stuff. I appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, guys. I've been gone for a while. I got a little bit of color here. I mean, I know I was super pasty before. Now I'm only a little bit pasty now. Still pretty pasty. But went to Mexico. Back, and I'm ready to go. And there's some news that happened recently. Just yesterday, there was a release that came out about some potential, remember right now, potential rule changes for college football for this next upcoming season. They were controversial. That's a fair assessment. Two of them were not necessarily too bad. Two of them were egregious. Okay, no. One of them was egregious, and one of them was okay, or it's just kind of, it's a weird middle ground. Anyways, I'm going to show you how I heard these. I have to give a shout out to my boy JD Piquel. And then we're going to go to the article that kind of highlights why this is going on. Let's get into that real quick. So the first thing here, and I didn't catch him exactly in the best post here, but my boy JD Piquel over here on 3. Everybody go over there and subscribe to them. In the matter, I'm going to subscribe to them. I can't be doing that. You can't say subscribe to somebody, you're not subscribed to them. On 3 does a great job. JD Piquel, I've interacted with him before. Really good job here. He highlighted those 4 rule changes here. I also want to go into kind of what's going on there because, and again, the big reason why they're trying to do this right now is because they're trying to reduce the length of the games. There's an SI article here that highlights that specifically. So right here specifically, we're talking about why they want to reduce the games in terms of length. We're going to go over what those rules are because a couple of them are just crazy. But anyways, here's the situation that we're going on. The average FBS football game last season stretched 3 hours and 21 minutes, a slight increase from the year before, 3:18, and 5 minutes longer than the 2018 average of 3:16. You see this chart right here, 3:16, 2018, 3:16, 3:21, 3:18, and then 3:21. That well eclipses the NFL average, which normally hovers around 3 hours and 10 minutes. Game lengths in the NFL are much more consistent than college, which can vary greatly and include some 4-hour affairs. About 1/5 of FBS games this past year went longer than 3.5 hours. The NFL game averages 155 plays, and FBS is around 180. So you think about that, 25 more plays per game. The NFL is more efficient offensively, which helps both in game length and pace of play. There's not as many incomplete passes, for instance. Professional halftimes span just 12 minutes. College halftimes are 20. That is one of my suggestions, future reference here. But again, we're going to get into that really quickly here. The replay system in the NFL relies on a coaching challenge system. In college, an official press box review for each play for accuracy. Like I said, there's a couple different discrepancies there. In the NFL, if they screw up a play, you don't get the challenge in, too bad. Moving on. I actually like that perspective here. However, I am going to show you kind of my breakdown of the situation. Let's get into this real quick. So these are the proposed changes for 2023 football. So rule number 1, no consecutive timeouts. And again, we'll get into this one right here, but no consecutive timeouts. As an example, right now, right before halftime, you're going to ice the kicker. You can take a timeout, and then he lines up for a kick. You can take a timeout. He lines up for a kick. You can take a timeout if you have all 3 timeouts. It's one of those things where it just kind of extends the game in certain instances. I remember in particular, Michigan a couple years ago had this happen to their kicker. He ultimately made the kick. He had a couple practice swings. I mean, he swung the kick 4 times. He only had one of them count. The next one here is no untimed downs after to end the first or third quarters. In essence, what that's going to do, let's just say you get to the point to where end of the first quarter, and like, well, actually, we have to have an untimed down here. It's because there's certain situations where you can have that. They would just say, no, just move to the next quarter. That's that situation there. Number 3, clock runs after a first down, except inside of 2 minutes. That one's going to get a little more controversial, is what we'll say there. And then number 4, the clock runs after an incomplete pass. You will know what I think about that one because I think that one is absolutely egregious. But anyways, let's get into this really quickly here. I have a breakdown of all of these, kind of what I think strengths, weaknesses, in my verdict. Let's get into that right now. So, about no consecutive timeouts. Remember here, everything within this is trying to reduce the game length. And again, we know the fact that last year was 3 hours and 21 minutes. 1/5 of games go longer than 3 hours and 30 minutes, and some games can last as long as 4 hours. They're trying to reduce the length of the game. There's multiple ways to do that. We're just going to address what they're doing right now. And my verdict. Positives about no consecutive timeouts. Reduces the amount of time in a game, especially before the half /end of the game, in turn reduces injury. Now, again, does this per se reduce a lot of plays? I don't really know that there. But again, what it's going to do is reduce the time of the game. I don't know. Some of it's safety concerns. Some of it's the time of the game for the windows that they play. This is what's the situation here. From the negatives, it removes option for icing a kicker. Now, it removes the option of icing a kicker multiple times in a row. You can still ice the kicker. However, what this is going to do is that if you are, if you have 3 timeouts, you can't take all 3 in a row. Now, this would hurt responsible teams that save their timeouts. So a lot of teams burn through their timeouts at the end of halftime. They don't have any. They can't stop the clock. A responsible team might be thinking, hey, we got our timeouts right here. It would very, very small percentage. That's kind of nitpicking on my part there, but that is one instance where it removes the option of icing a kicker multiple times in a row. Master Football's verdict, I would approve it. I don't see a big situation right there. That is making the college game more like the pro game. I do think there is a fair assessment to where you want to make sure the college and pro games are distinctly themselves. But am I married to having 3 timeouts in a row? No, I'm not. Next one here is no untimed downs after to end the first or third quarter. Jeez, good spelling there, Jake. All right, anyways, here. So with the positives here, it reduces the amount of time in a game, especially before the end of the first and third quarters. So the other one, before halftime and before, the end of the game, it would be a situation where you can't ice a kicker 3 times in a row or just take multiple timeouts in a row. This one here, end of the first and the third quarters, in turn reduces injury. However, again, super, super small here. The negatives of this, it would literally remove a max of 2 plays a game, potentially 0. How many untimed downs are there at the end of the first quarter and the end of the third quarter? Very little. You're not necessarily removing a lot of plays in that instance. Like I said, potentially 2, probably more than likely 0. Master Football verdict, I would approve it. Non-enthusiastically, sure, okay? Literally, sure, whatever. The next one here, we're going to start to get into an interesting situation. This is the one that's going to have a lot more conversation about than the other ones. Clock runs after first down, except inside 2 minutes. Positives, reduces the amount of time in a game by a significant margin. If you think about that, because those situations where there's lots of incomplete passes, this and that, if they are going to be running after a first down, it's going to be a situation where the game is just naturally going to get shorter drastically. The negatives here are pretty substantial here. Would drastically change the college game. Hurry-up offenses have 2 things. You hurry up, you simplify the defense because the defense can't call super complex things. They also get to the situation where you can wear down the defense. Hurry-up offenses would be immensely throttled down in what they are designed for. Like I said, one part is getting up and hurrying up so the defense screws up. The second part is wearing teams down by the number of plays they run. However, it's one of those things where they want the game to be safer, but hurry-up offenses are making the game more dangerous. It's a weird thing where the game is going to... This would be a fundamental shift in college football. I'm not thrilled about it, and you'll see my verdict here. I don't like how it's presented, but if they're going to do it, I would just do it all the way. Here's what I mean. I would either deny it or approve it without the inside 2 minutes designation. Inside of 2 minutes, offense and regular hurry-up offenses operate at roughly the same speed. What's the distinction there? Why the different distinction? Maybe make the final 2 minutes exciting or something like that. I would think either the clock runs after a first down or the clock doesn't run after a first down. I'm not going to do this weird 2 minute designation, keep the college game, I don't really care about that. I either want NFL style or I want it to be college style. I don't want a weird hybrid of both. Last but not least, in the most ridiculous suggestion in the history of mankind, the clock runs after an incomplete pass. The positives, reduce the amount of time in a game by a significant margin, in turn reduces injury. The negatives, would drastically change the game for the worse in every way. This is absolutely just stupid in a lot of instances here. Would remove the negative aspects of throwing the ball, especially in tight games. No incentive to run the ball to run out the clock. Again, you think about that situation. 3rd and 7, you're like, man, we could run the ball here. It's kind of conservative, or we could throw the ball for the first down. Throwing the ball for the first down, and let's say it's incomplete pass, clock still runs. No negative perspective there. If you keep the distinction between the incomplete pass and the run in terms of strategy, I really like that distinction there. It would drastically ruin this would just ruin the game, okay? Games would get done over so fast. It would go from 180 plays to like 120. It would just water down games completely. Again, Master Football verdict, whoever suggested this one needs to be reprimanded in some way. I don't want to say somebody get fired, okay? Stuff's hard out there, economy is roaring, inflation, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to ruin someone's job, but somebody needs to have a really stern talking to whoever suggested this one because it's ridiculous. So that's my perspective on those things. I'm just, dude, run the ball running, the clock running after an incomplete pass. I literally can't even speak. It's getting me so angry. Okay, if that happened, I'm telling you, it's right now. There's about 180 plays. 120 is not like 2/3, 1/3 of the game just gone. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I don't see any reason why you would do that. I mean, JD PicKell, as an example, he had a suggestion. His suggestion in his video was that he wanted there to be, one less TV timeout per timeout. Unfortunately, they're starting to get into the money. And JD, I don't know. I think that the people, because there's so much money in college football, they're not going to do anything to take away from the money. I think what they're wanting to do here is kind of, reduce the amount of time in the game. That's a fair assessment. Probably just for the windows, for the broadcasters. They're like, hey, can you get a game done in 3.5 hours as opposed to these 3:45, 4-hour long games, whatever, something like that. But one suggestion I had that would kind of help the situation out, college halftime needs to be less than 20 minutes, okay? First of all, I mean, as an example, Chris Berman, when he would do the fastest 3 minutes in NFL halftime's quick. You go to the bathroom, you go to a drink, you come back, and it's back on. College is 20 minutes, sometimes even longer than that. I don't think it needs to be that long. Again, that, though, is potentially cutting into some of the advertising perspective there. But I would cut down halftime. That's just my perspective. I know it's becoming more and more like the NFL there. But again, there's a couple reasons why they're doing this. My best guess is the TV partners. They're saying safety. My best guess is the TV partners are getting involved and like, hey, can you shorten these games up? We want to make sure that we solidify our windows. So, guys, get in the comments right now. What's your perspective here? What rules do you like? What rules do you hate? What rules do you not really care about? Get in the comments right now and let me know. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Do that stuff. I appreciate it. See you guys later. I am out.